So today we are presenting the story or the journey of Mr. Luis Renteria. Some of you may have seen him on class. He's a substitute teacher on SDKU, but he's here to talk about his experience in the coding industry. Luis, thank you very much for taking your time. Thank you for being willing to share your experience and expose here yourself to the questions of the students, which I expect a lot of questions, guys. So yeah, let's start. Luis, what are you doing right now? What are you working on? What's your current job title? Let's start with that.
Sure. Right now I'm working as a software engineer.
Nice. Remote, on site.
I'm remote,
Uh-huh.
but the company is here on my city, so basically I can go, it's like a little hybrid. Sometimes
Okay.
I get to go to the office, but it's extremely rare. Just like I would like to say like one or twice a month.
Oh, yeah. Mostly remote then.
Yeah.
Um, what are you working on? Web, mobile, desktop, server side?
Mainly, on the project that right now I'm working for, it's merely backend. It's more for web application. I'm still digging into the project because it's a big project. There are a lot of features and a lot of things that when you're new, you need to read documentation and then to get used to and on setting up everything. So basically, that's mainly my main focus right there.
Perfect. That's something that I want to dig into just in a few minutes. So, tell us about your story, how you got to the company, how was the interview process, how many exams, interviews happened?
Okay. Well, it was kind of funny because I really wasn't looking for anything on that moment because I mean on my previous job I got paid like if I was as an intern, but I already were an engineer, and I was searching like about a year and a half, most of them. And then I stopped searching. I realized that okay, if it's going to come to my life, it's just going to appear. I'm not going to be searching something that right now maybe it's not going to show up or something like that. And then like 3 months ago, I checked my email, and I checked that I had a message on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
And then I opened LinkedIn, I checked the messages, and it was someone about recruitment that told me that, you know what, I was looking your LinkedIn profile, and I think you would be a good match for this position. It was a software engineer, mainly Java, and I was like, okay, I don't have nothing to lose, so I sent an email back to answering to that person. I sent my CV and everything, and then the process was really fast. It was like 2 days after that I sent the email. The person from recruitment got back to me, and she was like, you know what, I'm going to interview you to test your technical skills, get to know you better, and then I will decide if I pass you to the second interview with with the client, and that stuff. Then I got the interview. It went everything pretty well, and then this person sent me to the second interview with the client, and like a week and a half later, I received the letter from the company that, you know what, I'm offering you this. Do you want it? If you want it, just sign this, and then we're going to start everything with the onboarding process and everything.
It was pretty fast. Yeah, that's great. So LinkedIn. Um, I always recommend creating a LinkedIn account for those that are interested in position as a software developer. That's what most of the recruiting happens right now. And as Luis's story, there are a ton of stories where you just get options. You just get contact by a lot of recruiting teams or persons. So for that, you need to create your account. It needs to be public. You need to put your profile in there. You need to put the languages that you know and the skills that you have. And the recommendation is follow us, the teachers, and we will endorse those skills that we teach. So if you follow me in LinkedIn and I see that you have some of the skills that I teach, I will of course endorse those skills. So that will help building you to build your resume there. Yeah, Cristina?
Hey, Luis, I'm not sure if you've said it before since we've had you a couple of times for our courses. But is this your first job as a doing the software thing, or have you done that previously and then got this job?
Okay, yeah, this one is my second job. The first one, it was I was like in my previous job, I was like a full stack developer, but the company was really little. It was something pretty small, just like, if I'm not wrong, the whole number of members for the engineering team was like only two or three developers. It was pretty small, and all the procedures and everything, they were not like pretty formal. It was all informal. Like, I had like daily meetings with my boss, like one or twice a month, I would like to say. It was pretty informal. And then I got this job um 3 months ago. And it's a huge company, like, and everything. There's a lot of procedures that you're going to see moving on the course. Like, I think for everything for relating to the Scrum Master and the daily stand-ups meeting and everything.
How long did you do the full stack
I
position?
I was there like for almost 2 years.
Okay. Do you think that kind of helped you to prepare you to go into a bigger company?
Yeah, it helped me on developing on well, I wouldn't say developing. I would say like increase my technical skills, because um mm, how to put it in words. Yeah, I would like to say that it helped me, but not in a great scale.
Awesome. Thank you. Um, so you work on a previous company, you decided to switch roles. LinkedIn was the factor there that started the process. You mentioned that the process itself was really quick, couple of weeks, you got the offer. Uh, how many interviews you had, like technical interviews or exams or exercises, any of that?
Okay, that's also a pretty good question, because I didn't had any technical tests.
Ooh.
It's good for you, Professor Sergey, that we're digging onto this topic, because previous to this interview, I'd applied, like, I don't know, a lot. I sent a lot of applications for software engineer positions or junior developer positions. And I would like to say that most of the applications, they always required a technical test, always. And this one was pretty fun, because I just got the interview with the person of recruitment, and then I got the second interview with the client.
Mhm.
And yeah, we dig a little into technical knowledge about Java, about frameworks, and things about the backend and front end, but they really didn't like put me in test my skills.
Okay, so that conversation, I'm pretty sure, was your technical interview when you mentioned that you talk about Java and some of the deeper stuff in there. That's great that you went straight into the offer. Um, that usually happens for developer positions, not so common for engineering positions. That is a step up. We can consider the software development and then software engineer for the entry level, for your first job, for a junior position. That's kind of the process, or that's the expectation. Some conversation with the recruitment team, and then conversation with a more technical person from the team lead or someone in there. And that's basically it. For mid levels or some engineering positions, we usually can expect a hands-on interview, like write some code, let's do this together or something like that. Uh, Great experience. Thank you. Something that I often get asked about, or when I start talking with the students that are about to graduate, a common fear that I identify is first of all, there is a fear of being into the interview, right? What if I don't make it? What if I fail the interview? That's, I think, not that is not something to worry about, because yeah, you can just apply to any of the thousands and thousands of companies that are looking for developers. So you fail one, nothing happens. You should learn from that, prepare better for the next one, and just do it. Keep going. But another fear is, what if I make it? What if I get an offer? What if I accept that offer? Will I be am I prepared for the first week? What if they realize that I'm not the developer they are looking for and they just fire me on the first day? That will not happen, but can you tell us about your experience on your first week? What was expected from you on the first week, on 2 weeks time, 1 month time?
Yeah, sure. There is certainly a fear about that. That feeling that, oh, I got the position, and yeah, what if I'm not good enough for the company? What if, I don't know, maybe another coworker is extremely fast and extremely pretty good at coding, and I'm just not that into like that level. And my first month, it was I really felt like that because I had also another coworker that also was entry level, a junior position just like me, and he had like we started working on some tickets about the project, and he was like thinking about solutions and searching through the code like really fast, and I was like, okay, I get how you do that, but what steps did you follow? And then he was just like, no, I just I don't know, I just searched the code and everything. And I was like, okay, maybe I don't know. I started doubting about myself because I realized that maybe we don't have the same level. But like, I would like to say like maybe 2 3 days ago, I realized that it's not that we're not on the same level. It's more that the methodology that I follow is pretty different from him. So it's a pretty important thing that you don't have to compare to any other teammate, because everyone works pretty different and everyone has their own pace. So yeah, there's a fear, but don't worry, it's not going to happen that oh no, I'm not at that level, and then I'm going to get fired at the first day. No, it's not gonna happen. But yeah, sure, there is a fear about that.
Yeah, there is. It's called the imposter syndrome, just like Seth's image there. Um, that's the little devil telling you you are not enough. Maybe you will not make it. Maybe everyone else will be a super hacker genius and you will be there trying to send a div on CSS. We all have that, despite your years of experience, the role that you apply for. We always have that fear going into the interview, going into the technical interview, getting into the first day of work. So I think it's important to recognize that it's there and trying to ignore that as much as possible. Sometimes it's hard, but you should know that should not control you. if the company offers, we talk about what if they don't offer, what if they don't follow up on the after your interview? What if you fail the interview? You can apply for another one. That's as easy as that. We all have failed interviews. You will have failed interviews. You cannot expect to have an interview and get an offer just like that. That barely happens. You expect to fail a few, some of them that will not call you back. You may expect to get some really low offers that you will reject, and you keep going, right? Uh, but as Louis said, once you get to the job, you will find everything. You will find every type of developer. You will find those genius that know them, that knows everything. Those guys that are super fast. Those guys that work like 20 hours a day. They are connected and getting code push at 3 in the morning. Weird things like that. You don't need to measure against that. You you have your own methodology, you have your work to do, just do your work and don't worry about anyone else. Uh, my question was more about the expectation from you. For example, I'm fairly new in my current job, on my current position. I'm 10 months, 11 months, and I'm still learning about the projects. I don't know the projects yet. I'm still learning about the steps and the processes that I shall follow. What were your expectations for the first week of work?
Okay. Like from my side, or what or the expectations from the company?
What does the company expected from you or your manager expected for you on the
Oh,
first week?
okay. On the first week, mainly it was just getting access to all of the tools. That was like the whole goal. It was
Mhm.
just talking to the IT guys to set you up. In this case, I'm using a virtual machine to work. So basically, the expectation was getting all my tools, all my access from the for the virtual machine, getting access also and the licenses for the IDE and access to the repositories and all of that kind of things. That was like the expectation on the first week.
Yeah, it usually is. Usually the first 1 week, the first 2 weeks, it's don't do anything.
Yeah.
And for us, it's we feel weird. Like, am I missing something? Am I doing something? Because this week I just got to, I just need to have my email and know to have a 2 calls, 3 calls with some of the teammates, set up my computer. That's what your expectation for the first week or two. So let's not talk about you being fired on the first day because you are not expected to code on the first week, on the second week. You are not expected to commit a big change on the first month, maybe. At first, we will give you a task like change the text on this div, move the button 3 pixels down, something super easy, just to for you to get used to the process of committing and sending requests and all of that. Um, do you use Git?
Yes, we use Git. Git
90 something percent of the companies will use Git. Yeah.
yeah, Git and GitLab.
Oh, you use GitLab instead of GitHub? Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
we use GitLab instead of GitHub. It's I would say that it's like the same because
but
you
free.
we
Yeah.
yeah we use the same commands: git push, git pull, and everything. So
Yes. Yeah. So we talk about, or if not, we will talk about Git, or on my classes, we talk about Git being the technology, GitHub being just one of the options. And as there is GitHub to push your code, there are a ton of other options. GitLab is becoming really popular because it's free and that's good enough, right? GitHub, it's also kind of free, but not for big companies. They have to pay a big money to Microsoft. GitLab, it's free and open source. But I want to take a second. Anyone has any questions so far about the process or anything for Mr. Luis Renteria? Yeah, Leo.
Hello, hello. Good afternoon, good evening.
Hello.
Yeah, this is Leo. Luis, yeah, I have a question. I don't know if you already mentioned it, but this is more related to the program. Before joining this program, FSDI, do you have a background related to programming?
Yeah, I had a previous background before the full stack immersive course. Um, I have a bachelor's in mechatronics engineering, and in the throughout of my career, I learned about object oriented programming and visual programming. So I get my, I would like to say, my basics into Java and a little bit of Python, and then I get to the course, and then I basically so boost my technical skills.
Okay, yeah, I have another question related to this one. How did a full stack program change your perspective on software development? Because now I know you have a previous background, but what about the full stack program?
Okay. I think it's because through the pandemic, I get a lot of free time, and so I start just buying a lot of courses about programming and full stack development, and then I got this opportunity of taking the full stack immersive course, and then so that's why I took it. I realized that my profile it was more oriented on software developer.
Okay, thank you. And my last question is again related to the program. What
Sure.
advice would you give to new students starting this program? Because right here, there are many new students, so maybe we can give us some advices.
Sure. Mm, I think one advice that I would like to give to maybe a lot of you guys already heard of it, but would be just keep practicing it, because that's the main the like the better way to get used to the code, and also being a good researcher, because throughout the projects and coding, you're going to have a lot of errors, and you have to know how to handle that, and you have to know how to research about that, how to fix it. And yeah, I think that would be my advice. Just keep practicing it. Don't leave it just like, okay, I did this in this class. We developed the online store. We did something about the API using Flask, and that's going to be it. No, it takes a lot of time also. So you need to put more hours in on coding. So yeah, that would be my advice.
Hey, I have another question, a new question right now. Um,
Sure.
what was the most challenging technical concept you learned in this program? Maybe, I don't know, I'm thinking in Django or algorithms, or maybe the final
Oh,
cat project.
sure. I think I have. Wow, it's a pretty good question. I think I would like to say there were three things. The first one was the Django. Yeah, I struggle a lot with the Django because it was a new framework, a lot of things that I really don't know about, and it was a lot of effort that I had to read the documentation and everything to just to comprehend how a lot of imports and a lot of features about the framework, how it works. The second one would be data algorithms and structures. I think you're going to watch that with Professor Rafael. Um, I would like to make a little emphasis on that one. Data structures are pretty much common in a lot of technical interviews. So you have to be good on data structures and algorithms. And the third one will be I think it was the last courses where you watch about the Scrum and Agile methodologies. That's also another thing that I struggle a little bit.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great questions, Leo. Thank you, Luis, for the
Thank you,
answers.
Leo.
Questions, anyone?
Yeah, I just want to say after some time programming with Django, we fell in love with Django, or maybe we're going to hate Django because it's so powerful, it's beautiful, it's built to last, but it depends on.
It's polarizing, yeah, just like
Yeah.
CSS. You either love CSS or hate
Or
CSS.
hate it.
There is nothing in
Yeah.
between. But yeah, Django is really nice. So What you did? Yeah, Seth, you have a question?
Oh, I'll wait.
Okay, Luis, what you did after finishing the course to just keep you in, if you did anything, to keep you in shape, to keep you ready for the industry? Did you did anything?
After the course, well, I was already working on my previous job. So after the course, I just continue on my job. I was continue developing software using Java, and then I also keep I always like to do personal projects just
Mhm.
to not to forget. I would like to just to not to forget a lot of the languages, because mainly my main skill is Java, and in the course we use Python, and the Django as a framework. So I will did like some personal projects using the Django and Python just to not forget about how the language work and all of that.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we developers, we are kind of weird in the sense that we work 8, 10 hours coding after work, and just for fun, we keep coding personal projects. So that's expectation. That's usually expected, to have your own projects, to choose something different, or the same technology to do something different. That's what you will set you guys apart. That's what will you will learn a lot. You will face some challenges. You will bang your head with the desk, but you will learn a lot from that. So practice, practice, practice. So Seth, do you have a question?
It was answered. I'm good.
Okay, awesome. So you work with Java, and you mentioned that in your career you had some interaction with Java, and then you got to full stack, where we use JavaScript and we use Python, but we don't use Java in this course. So was it hard to adapt your the knowledge that you got here from JavaScript, React, Flask, Django, from those two programming language and a few frameworks? Was hard to adapt that to a new programming language, in this case Java?
Not that much. I would like to say that honestly that the course helped me to improve my technical skills with JavaScript. I didn't have I never, well, I wouldn't say that I never, but I was really using some features with on JavaScript on my previous job, and after the course that I get to know more about JavaScript, I started to implementing on just developing some features or something that I just were just related to the job. But it's not, there's some point that you realize it, that it's not that different. Maybe, yeah, it would be like the just the language on, I forgot the word. The syntax, sorry. The syntax about the language is the only thing that changed, but really the structure and the whole concept about how something works, it's going to be the same through a lot of all of the other coding languages.
Sorry, I struggled to unmute. Yeah, that's great. That's great. And that's one of the main reasons that we have this kind of talks. So another person other than we, the teachers, tell you exactly the same. Learn to code. Don't worry about the language. The companies will hire you for your ability to solve problems with code, not so much for your knowledge on a syntax. That being said, if you know Python, you can get a job on another different programming language, because you know how to code, you know how to solve problems with code. You just know it with a different language, with a different syntax. But switching syntax is really easy compared to learning to code. That's the hardest part. Getting your ability, getting your brain trained on how to think like a computer, how to teach the computer to do whatever you want to do. Another break for questions.
I have a question.
Yep.
Once you received your offer and you were reviewing it, what kind of things did you take into account when it came to the salary that they were offering you? to know that you were receiving a good offer?
Mainly I took it because the salary was way better than my previous job. That's one thing. And the second thing that makes me want to accept like really immediately the offer was the benefits. You have to read the documentation and check what benefits are you going to have, because most of the companies maybe are not going to offer you a great bonuses or great features. And this company that I work for, I read the offer letter, and first thing I look at the salary. I was like, okay, it's way better than that I'm earning right now. The second was the benefits. I was like, okay, I'm not getting this and also this, and with this company, I am going to get it. So that's mainly like the how I made my decision.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Right. So it
Victoria.
was a no-brainer, right? Because you have a previous work. So, and I think it's a great question. What to do when it's your first job? When it's your first offer? How do you know if you're accepted or not? One key technology that works for me, I just pasted in the chat, it's Glassdoor. It's a company that keeps track of the different roles and different salaries and for every company. So you can find in there, for example, how much Amazon is paying a level 1 software developer. And if you are getting an offer from Amazon, or if you're applying, my recommendation is when you apply to a company, see if there is a Glassdoor information for that company, because you will get a sense of other roles and salaries in that company in that position. So when you get the offer, you know, or you have an idea if they are aiming too low for you or if you are in the range. Also, Google this common or the salary, the average salary for this position on this state, and it's per state. So make sure you find the information for your state. It really changes a lot from a state to a state in the US. And the companies knows that, and the companies will offer you different different compensations depending on the state that you are, because of cost of living. Um, but it's a good idea to have a kind of an average, because recruiters hardly tell you, the listings don't show that. I think on the US, only a few states kind of force the companies to put a range of salaries for that position, but not all the states, not all the companies will do it. So most of the times we go blank, like I will see if that's good enough. My recommendation, and that's something that I learned the hard way, because uh the first time that I got a job offer, I just accepted immediately because I felt that it was good money. Uh, I learned that the hard way, but always negotiate. Always try to negotiate your salary a little bit up. What's the worst thing that they will say? Oh, we cannot do that. So you say, okay, then I will sign the one that I have in hand. I never have heard of a company that says, no, we will not be able to pay you that. And in fact, we will withdraw the previous offer. That will not happen. The worst thing that that can happen is they saying, no, we cannot do that. Most of the time, they will try to meet you halfway. Like, we could not do that, but instead of giving you that 10% extra that you are asking, we could give you 5, we could give you 7. So that's something that just for a few emails going back and forth and increase your salary 5%, 10%, that's great. So the recommendation is always negotiate your salaries. Yeah, I think that's one of the golden rules. Yeah, Leo?
Yeah, I have another question. Speaking of best practices, you know, Luis, all the time we are coding. So for example, maybe at the beginning we're creating a simple function, and then we want to improve that one to a arrow function, or maybe we are using an if statement, and then we want a switch statement. So speaking of best practices, how can we create and maintain high quality code?
Okay, pretty good question. Um, I would say I would recommend before 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 coding, I always took everything like into paper, write the functionality and basically what am I expecting and what does the code needs to do. After that, I try a solution, I code it, and then I use big O notation to check if I'm doing some recursive or if there's always something a better way to improve the code. If there's a way, I change that. And also for best practices and doing and developing clean code, I'll follow a lot the solid principles. Those are the ones that help me to create or yeah, to create clean code.
Awesome.
Thank you.
It's great to try to have the best code possible, but also at the junior level, that's kind of the not your expectation or not the expectation from you. Is the expectation is that you do your best, try to make it work, and if the seniors, if we see when we review your code, if we see something that it's just too ugly, for sure you will get a comment in there. But yeah.
Yeah, also I would like to share something with you because we can do this. We can code right now, maybe this week, and let's see the same code in 1 year, and you're gonna think, oh my God, my code is ugly as Sergio said. It's like I'm much better right now, so I can improve this. Or maybe you're not gonna take that code, you're going to create a new one, much better, and it happens, and you are gonna feel so good.
Yeah, the shame of the past, it's always there. But it's a good thing because if you are ashamed of your previous code, that's because you are better. You are writing better code today. And ideally, that should happen. Ideally, seeing a code 6 months from behind should stink because now you do better. But the code works, so it's fine. Samantha, you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Luis, for all the explanation and everything that you're sharing with us. And hello to everyone. Thank you for being enrolled in the call. I see some new faces from cohort 53. And all my students are from cohort 52. I am expecting that you ask questions. But I have one for you, Luis. Something that it's maybe not, in my opinion, it's really important, maybe at the same level as the tech skills, Luis. What about the soft skills? What are the teamwork? How you're managing that? Are you working in a team? How you're communicating with them? Because we have, when we are students and when we are learning, or when we are learners, so sometimes we don't want to share, we don't want to ask, so we're just maybe introvert people. So how you are managing that, or how the company it's managing that on all the soft skills that you need to develop.
Okay. Mainly I would say don't don't be afraid to ask. I think that's something very important on right now on um I would say that communication is like the whole key to I don't know if I would say to solve the problem, but if you don't know the answer or if you're struggling something, don't be afraid to reach someone, maybe your manager or maybe another coworker. Here on the company we use Teams to communicate. So basically, just send a message maybe to another coworker to ask to ask a question about a ticket or something like that, or maybe if you need more help, you can feel free to reach your manager, or maybe to reach the PM, the project manager, maybe on another question that you could have on the project. But yeah, it's a pretty good skill not to be if you're introvert, don't worry. I mean, it's not that you have to change to be extrovert, but don't be afraid just to communicate with your colleagues and your teammate and your manager and that stuff.
Awesome, thank you. And especially on a remote setting, right? If you cannot be by yourself all day long and expect to give the better results because we don't know everything. So pretty sure there is another one on the team that knows more. Or also the manager will not be happy if you said, look, it's working now. I lost 30 hours trying to find this, and at the end I found the solution. The manager will tell you, yeah, why don't you ask me? Why don't you ask another teammate? We could have fixed that in half an hour instead of losing 30, 20 hours in that. So it's always great to try to fix it on your own. Of course, that's the first thing that we should always try. Let me see if I can fix it. But if after 2 hours, 3 hours, if you're not making any progress, you should ask for help. The team there will always be someone with a greater knowledge or more time in the team that should be able to help you. And if not, if you get to your manager and say, look, we tried, I reached such and such person, we could not fix this and we already lost 20 hours. So at least we know that you try your best and you try your best as a team, not as a single solo developer. And then we could understand that, yeah, that time had to be lost because it's something really hard that no one is being able to solve. Yeah, communication skills are important. I think we have time for one more. Leo?
Yeah, mine is a short question. Yeah, Luis, talking about technologies, could you tell us what's your favorite front and backend technologies?
Sure. My favorite backend technology, I'm going to stick with it. Java. Java is I know Python is pretty easier, and I don't hate Python. I have my respect to it, but I don't know. Java is just formal, and I don't know. I just get used to it, and then learn how to love Java. So I just would say Java for backend. And in front end, mm, I think React. I think React. I don't do that much on front end, honestly. I'm more back end. I mean, if I had to do something about related on front end, I'm not afraid on solving that. But yeah, I work more as a back end. So yeah.
Okay, you lost
Thank
me
you.
on Java, but you bring me back with React, so we are fine. No, it's totally fine. We all have different preferences, different languages, and there are languages and frameworks for everyone.
Yeah, at least I
And that
didn't
will
say
change.
PHP.
Yeah, Objective C. That will change. That can change along the time. For me, it changed from C#, the backend, to then Python. From 5 years ago, I just left C#, Python now. Before I used Angular, now I'm more a React developer. So that changes whatever you feel more comfortable with, and also whatever the company or the industry pushes a little bit towards. Sometimes we are forced to learn something that we don't like PHP. And talking about the industry pushing us towards a common fear, it's the new trends on the AI and all these new articles that every time a new company releases a new model, the headline to attract the attention is, now we don't need developers. Now developers will be out of job. And now with this one, no one will need a developer. That's not true. But what's your intake in that? Are you using any of those AI tools in your day-to-day work?
No, no, yeah.
Okay.
I use AI. I use AI. Not like just to do my whole job, but it's important to start seeing AI as a tool more
Mm-hmm.
than just like, oh, it's going to replace my job. No, it's not. I'm pretty sure that it's not going to do that. At least not in these years, and maybe I would like to say in the next 10, maybe 15 years. But yeah, I use sometimes I use ChatGPT on some like pretty easy questions that I have on coding, like I don't know, I'm struggling something with the backend technology, or hey, I need to do this, help me with this code. Or I copy my code, I paste it on ChatGPT, and I ask ChatGPT like, is there any vulnerability, or maybe if there's a way to improve my code, and that's it. But mainly I just use it for that.
Yeah, perfect. And that's what they are. These new AI tools are tools. They are not replacement for developers, so you should not be worried about. Behind every single model that is working, there are a ton of developers working, coding to have that model running. So it's not something that you just come up with a model and it magically runs and and you can fire a ton of people. I think it's to the contrary. If any company that wants to get into the AI trend, they need to hire a ton of developers, a ton of data scientists, a ton of AI engineers, and a ton of backend developers and front-end developers that keeps everything running. So it's not taking the jobs, it's just kind of switching the jobs to another areas. At least that's my intake. I think that's it, that we don't have time for any other question. I just wanna thank you again, Luis, for your time, for opening your story here with us. Thank you, everyone, for attending, for listening, and having some questions. Luis, it was great. I think great insights, great example and advices for the students. Let's hope that they get something. We really hope that you get something useful out of this hour, everyone.
Thank you, Luis. Thank you.
Thank you,
Night.
Sergio.
Thank
you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you very
everyone.
much.
Bye.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody,
you.
for being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
San Diego Global Knowledge University, Education Beyond Boundaries.